going on, everybody? How are we doing on this fine Monday evening? My name is Eric, and welcome to Q2C VR Gamer Live. We are a weekly VR talk show that airs live normally every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where we go live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, Kick. Miles, you've ever heard of Kick?
I did once upon a time. Isn't that where they pay you loads of money to stream there? Are you cashing it all in?
We're so bougie. We got so much loads of money from going to Kick. But if you cannot catch us live, you can always catch us afterwards on your favorite podcast platform. Miles.
What up, dude?
Welcome to Q2C, man. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, man. The first thought is I definitely need to get an epic intro to my live streams because that is loud, it's bold, shows nice memories. I love it, dude. How often do you update it, though, with new photos?
Here's the big thing. So we have just did this thing not too long ago. We had somebody come in. Todd worked with a guy and made a great kick-ass video. I'm like, Todd, you used every fat picture you could find of me. I'm like, can we update it and get some new photos? He's like, no, I don't think so. That's the problem when you lose 60 pounds, Miles, is you get all the fat photos and then you can't get any new good ones.
Well, we'll get another update soon then.
I know. I'm gonna put Todd back to work and get some better pictures in there. The problem is Todd's bald in every picture. It doesn't matter, no matter what. So he's okay. He's always going to be bald.
Right.
So he doesn't care. He's like, whatever. Old pictures, new pictures, it doesn't matter. But, you should get a cool intro, man. Like you just go live, right? Like when you go live, you're like, I'm on.
I do have a countdown. I have a countdown timer, and I'm sort of in the dark in the background, and music plays. I mean, it kind of works. It's cool, but I do like the intro with like a good vibe. So yeah,
we love that song, man. That intro has been with us for almost 4 years now. We had that intro. We took it away. Recently for a little bit. We tried a different song, and people freaked out. And they're like, "No, bring back the classic." So back to the classic song. I love it, and it's a good vibe, right? It's good.
That's it. Sets the tone.
Yeah, it's good. It's cool.
It's the sort of song that you hear, and you're like, I really want to have a G&T right now.
Oh, do you want to have a G&T?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's have a G&T. Cheers, dude.
And you're like, happy Monday, everyone. It's Tuesday for me now, so I'm already, and it's a work day, but
hell yeah, that's okay. I know your boss.
Yeah, you do.
So yeah, this is a first also. Miles, I think this is episode number 146. 146 episodes.
Damn.
First time that we've ever been drinking live on the episode.
That's what? Really? You never drank on an episode before? Wow.
Todd won't let me. He's like a prude.
I am a bad influence, clearly. So I do apologize. And hi to the chat. Lots of lovely people in the chat saying hello. So just want to say hey.
Yeah, absolutely. You. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for hanging out tonight on a weird night on a Monday. We were going to try and do this last week. We couldn't do the show normally on Thursday because I actually was in New York City at the Behemoth launch party, which I don't want to drop anything, but it was cool. We're going to talk about it a little bit afterwards. But yeah, so I was in New York, so we couldn't do the show on Thursday. And I said, Miles, I would love to do this show with you. It would be a cool thing to do because I want to talk a lot about PlayStation. You are pretty much a PlayStation expert, a PlayStation VR2 expert. Couldn't have anybody better on to do that with. But I said, let's do this together. And then my flight got delayed. And I spent an entire night in the airport, like literally from 10 p.m. I got stuck in Atlanta from 10 p.m. until the next flight out in the morning was 8 a.m. And I was just sitting there in the airport for that whole entire time. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do a show, man. And then you're like, yeah, it's okay. Let's delay it. And then we were going to do it over the weekend. And I got to tell you what happened. Wes put me through a 4-hour and 20-minute show last night on Virtual Strangers.
I actually
20 minutes.
I actually woke up this morning and it said like this had just finished streaming like 3 hours ago. I was like, oh my god, it was another long one. Clearly,
it was. I mean, you've done multiple shows with Wes now, right? Like, you guys have both been on Parole without Parole for a long time, doing doing that show. You've been you don't do all the shows with them, but you've done shows with them.
Yeah, Wes is what I would call thorough. He's a very thorough person.
Yes, that is the perfect word.
He won't miss a detail, and that's why we love him.
Now, to be fair, we did Game of the Month last night for October.
Oh, okay.
And it was a million games to go over, so and a lot of hard ones to discuss. And even PlayStation had a lot of games to talk about in October, so it wasn't easy. So I get it.
And it's ramping up as we're getting towards the end of the year. Like, it's unbelievable. Especially when there's all this concern about where investment is and stuff like that. We are just there's too many games to play. I mean, for us who gets keys, we're very fortunate. We get to dip and dive where we want.
Mhm.
If I was just a regular consumer, I would be constantly agonizing over where do I put my money, because there's just so many games, so many great games as well. Like, even the value proposition and how much you have to reach in your pocket for to pay. What was it? Metro was a $50 game. I'm trying to think what it is in dollars.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was expensive, but I mean, it's cool to see all the PlayStation games pop. Even today, there was several games announced on PlayStation today. Like, on the PlayStation VR days, the VR2 days they call it today. And there was one that looked really, really cool. You know what? Let's check out the trailer for that. What do you think? Trailer? Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Nice.
Dude,
that's so much fun.
I feel so happy with that music at the end. The
know,
Trombone
right?
Champ Flurry is so good.
It is. It's good. Yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel, it makes you feel happy.
It does. And my heart is is a really strong place for this game, because when I joined Impact Reality back in May, and I saw a Discord channel with this game listed, I freaked out, because I think it was like a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago now, on my own show. I played Trombone Champ on it, just saying, like, guys, this is just the funniest thing ever. I mean, I missed the hype right at the beginning, and I loved it so much. And it was actually because I'm on a Mac computer, and there's not a lot you can play on a Mac computer, but you can play Trombone Champ. And at the time, I was just saying, I wish there was actually an official VR of this, because there was the mod, and obviously the official thing. And not only was it an idea that I thought this is going to go far, seeing it go through the development process, being able to jump in, the sort of the banter we have internally with people trying to get the high scores, and seeing where it is now as we get into the final stretch, I am so incredibly proud of the whole team that's worked on this. And I think that anyone that has even considered playing this is going to be in for a real treat. Because I like, at the beginning it says the game is for everyone, like in its rating, but like even as a marketing piece, this game is literally for everyone.
Yeah, it was a very surreal day for me today, just seeing our first game being hosted everywhere by Sony, and PlayStation, and seeing it as our game. And growing up as a huge gaming fan, and as Sony as one of my all-time favorite platforms, and all the experiences I've had on Sony, and to finally have a game that we're doing be there and be announced, and like have Sony get behind it and push it as much as they did today, was a super geek out moment.
Yeah, and to have Wes have his name on the blog post was just great to see.
I mean, literally, I would be in tears if I was him. I wonder if he cried a little bit. Like, I would want to know, like, deep down inside, did he have a little tear in his eye when he was like, I am writing a post that's going to go up on the PlayStation blog?
It probably hasn't sunk in yet. I mean, when you see that sort of stuff, and especially with how fast everything is moving at the moment. But
we only work them about 20 hours.
That also, the tears was not from emotion; it was from pure exhaustion. It was the sweat coming out of his eyes.
I mean, to be fair, he kept me up until 3 o'clock in the morning doing a podcast last night.
I honestly can't believe that, with everything else he had going on. It's irresponsible, but thorough. Remember,
I mean, it's almost as irresponsible as drinking gin and tonics on a Monday night.
That's good. It's good. It's good. The danger is that I am literally next to my bottle as well, so I'll just tell me off chat if I pick it up too many times. But
you know
yeah,
what the thing is I have that and I have this one in reserve ready to go. It's gonna be an interesting podcast. Here we go.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up before it gets too wild. We'll see.
Wow,
We'll see.
Let's say hello say hi to our chat. And we actually had a $20 super chat that I just want to call out. The Classy Grandma says, "Cheers, guys. Hey, Myles and the other guy.
Cheers."
Me
and the other guy.
Laugh out loud. Big hugs, Eric. Wes can make anybody want to cheers. Laugh out loud. Go for it. Awesome. Hell yeah. Wes is awesome. And we kind of joked about that, but literally I know how much that had to mean to him being able to write that post. Like, yeah, that is a big deal for, again, this is a big day for all of us, but it's a big deal for somebody like Wes who, who has made the transition from, what he was doing in his life before to doing what he's doing now, and then have the ability to actually write something that Sony is, putting on their blog is, it's a big deal.
Yeah. It's a dawn of a new era, man, when it comes to VR. I mean, we talk internally a lot, and it makes me feel old when I think about when I started doing YouTube 18, 19 years ago. And back then, if I ever went on the media, on the news, cable news channels and that, I was sort of laughed at of like, what you on about with YouTube? Isn't it just dogs on skateboards? That was what it was always described as. And I'd be like this hippie going, no, this is literally going to change the world. And look, I was no futurist. I couldn't see into the future, but I thought this technology is really going to change the game. And I can see it happening all over again with VR. Every time there's a VR trailer, you see the same stuff in the comments, which is, but who plays VR? And VR is like one of the fastest growing bits of tech in the industry, in the gaming industry at the moment. And it's thanks to people like us in the space. I'll thank us firstly, but also massive thanks to all the people that watch these shows and go out there and buy games. And if you haven't already, wish list Trombone Champ Unflattened on any platform, Steam, PlayStation, Oculus, or not Oculus, MetaQuest. It will really help the game out.
You could call it Oculus. It's fair.
Yeah. I actually only owned a MetaQuest when I first joined you guys, so back in May. So I'm quite new to the party. But my first ever domestic VR experience was the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
My brother brought it over to my family's at Christmas, I think it was. And the 3 games I played was Job Simulator. Just standing in that lobby blew my mind, the real sense of presence in VR. Arizona Sunshine, which was why the remake was a real coming home moment for me.
Yeah.
And Raw Data. Those were the 3.
Those are all great games, by the way. Like, those are all-time classics. So that's a good one to cut your teeth on. And
to think how many years ago that was, and they still like stand up as great games.
They really do, especially like Raw Data. That game did not get the well, it did back then, but even now, like there was a quarter of the people back then, to enjoy those games. Now there's so many more people that people don't get a chance to really give that one credit for what it really was.
I want them to port it, man. Bring it to PSVR2. It's one of many games I'd love to see them do it with, because the other 2 games have
that can do that.
Yeah,
company that does porting of. Let's say hello to our chat, Myles. I want to say hi to everybody and give you a chance to meet the community, because they probably know a lot of you. Probably know a lot of them crossover between your streaming and your channel, and then the PSVR Without Parole channel, and then Wes's channel in here as well. But we have Not Sure Brondo is here. We have Jay Brat is in the house. What's up, Jay? How you doing?
Yeah, Jay.
Salvador is here. Classy Grandma. Wesley Fletcher. Mepper is here saying hi to absolutely everyone, like he always does. Let's see. Haruku is here. Myles.
What up, Haruku?
Yeah, hell yeah. We love some.
Why aren't you working?
Yeah, get to work, bro. Brandon VR is here. Let's see. Who else? We have Tasselhoff is here. What's up, Tass? How you doing, man? Inferno 9 is here. We have Inferno 9. What else we got? Lots of communication between Classy Grandma and everybody in chat. She just likes to talk to everybody. Q Creator is here. What's up, Mike? How are you doing? He's over on your side of the world, Myles. I think he's in England right now with his mom. Staying with his mom. So nice. Mike does all of our timestamps here too at the show, so he does a really good job. Thank you, Mike, for taking care of all those. We appreciate you. Let's see who else we got here. We have oh my god, there's like so many people. Fourth Wall Breaker is here. Natasha Fahey is here and just became a supporter of Q2C.
Oh, nice.
I think
Natasha rocks.
I think I conned her into it when we didn't go live right away, and she thought she had to become a supporter just to see what was going on. I should do this more.
Yeah, maybe.
Get more supporters, for sure. Let's see who else we got here. Salvador, I said, Classy Grandma. VR Spry guy is here. What's up, Spry? How are you doing, man? Assassin 32 VR is here. And Todd Jackson is here. What's up, Todd? How you doing, man? It was let's see, Push Dustin. That would be Will. Will is here. What's up, Will? How you doing, man? Zell 2318. Mrs. Grey Wolf is in the house. I don't have the Grey Wolf button, but I wish I did. Who else we got? I think we're getting close to wrapping up with that. As if there's anybody else I missed. Dan Kim sneaks in at the end. Space Denizen.
Wes has arrived.
WTF? What's up, Wes? How are you doing, man?
Royalty.
Todd looks different, he says. He is royalty.
I'm glad Wes is still talking to us now he's made it. He hasn't forgotten about us.
Do you think he was going to big league us? He was like, hey, I'm right.
Yeah.
No, you guys are, get out of here.
Don't have time for you, small fry. Yeah.
Well, cheers, Wes.
Yeah.
Cheers, Wes. On your PlayStation blog post.
I did notice a typo on it, though.
Was there really?
No.
That would be classic if there was. That would be.
God.
Holy moly, that would be amazing.
Sorry, Wes. Didn't mean to make your heart drop. It was perfect.
But thanks for everybody for being here on a weird night. And yeah, absolutely. Wes is like, what? He's going to look at it right now. But thanks for everybody for being here on a weird night, on a Monday night. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, Myles. Thank you for coming in and talking to me. I want to talk some PlayStation stuff today. Recently, I know you have picked up a PlayStation 5 Pro. I recently picked up a PlayStation 5 Pro. I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about, again, the PSVR2 days and the games that were announced today. I want to talk about the PlayStation VR2 PC converter. I want to talk more general about it, about like what that means for the landscape of PlayStation VR2. And then I just want to talk about maybe the game awards that were announced today a little bit, and there's some cool games that came out there. But let's just talk a little bit about you first. Introduce yourself to the chat. Tell me, so I know that you mainly want to focus on PlayStation VR2 or PlayStation in general, PlayStation VR, because that's where you started with was PSVR 1. So just give me an idea. So what was it about the PlayStation platform that you were like, I want to just devote my entire channel just to doing this and not anything else?
I mean, yeah, I've always been a PlayStation gamer, and when PlayStation VR first came out, I didn't dive in straight away. It was one of those things of like, is it actually going to be a good headset? But it was once my brother had shown me that domestic one that I was really bought into it, because my first ever VR experience was actually, we had something called Sega World in London in the 90s. Which was you literally paid to go into an arcade. So you paid money to enter into an arcade where you paid more money. And they did have these arcade machines, and I'd love to dig it up on Wikipedia. You sat in this room. It was like a cinema, a theater, and you were like flying aircraft with everyone else in the room in VR. Now, I bet you if we wore those headsets now, we'd feel sick with how poor and pixelated the graphics were. But back then, it was this real like wow moment. And then I did play again when I was a kid. I went to Downtown Disney in Florida. Did you
do the Void?
I don't know what it was called back then, because this would have been 25 years ago.
Void.
But it was like it was like you were in this like gated area, and my brother went in as well, and I think you had lightsabers or something, and we could see each other in it. And again, I bet you now it's been upgraded and been amazing. But yeah, these kind of things blew my mind. And there's been all these stepping stones along the way of why VR has appealed to me. And actually, one of the last jobs I had, I say that it was like 10 years ago, I worked for the Guardian news organization. And the last project we worked on was called 6x9. And it was about a solitary confinement cell, because it's 6 foot by 9 foot. And it was a VR experience where you put it on your phone, you could wear it on the Google Cardboard. And it was 10 minutes of having these voices of people that have been in solitary confinement talking to you about what it's like to be in solitary confinement. And for me, I was seeing these journalists take their headset off and they were in tears. And I thought, wow, it's this real empathy machine. So it's like all these things along the way have got me interested. And so I finally decided to bite the bullet. I bought PSVR, and then I was trying to find out what games to play. And so I was searching on YouTube. PSVR without Parole I discovered. I was a big fan of that channel. It was a great way of working out where to invest my money, because there are a lot of games to choose from. And then later down the line, I was speaking with Brian Poole, who runs it all. And as I always like to do outside of my professional work as a marketer, I always like to offer free marketing advice to people that I want to see do well. And so we got chatting. He gave me a few guest slots. And then it must have been a couple of years ago now, he asked me if I wanted to be one of the weekly co-hosts. It's not that I have anything against Meta. I own a Meta headset now, and I want VR to thrive through all the avenues. But at the end of the day, you have to choose where you invest your time. And for me, I kind of like the underdog mentality within the underdog mentality of VR with PSVR too. And in terms of my own channel, I don't just do VR coverage. But I decided this is what I'm going to do. And so I set myself the ridiculous challenge of live streaming every single PSVR2 game. And just before we actually went live, I was digging up. Do you want me to show this?
Yeah, you got to show it. If you don't mind, show it. If you don't want to show
it. Anyone that's ever worked with me knows I'm pretty obsessive when it comes to spreadsheets.
That is true.
This is where it comes from, because this is the kind of thing I do in my free time. I actually used to have one of these for my Pokemon Go calculations, but yeah, this is my spreadsheet. I don't know if is it on screen now? Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
this is like every single PSVR2 game of the ones that I've played. So I've played 100. I've live streamed 122 so far. These are ones yet to come out. Actually, some of these have come out. Dude, but I also log like where they are on the PlayStation Store, trailers, who are the contact details I should probably not have
Natasha, now you know where it stems. Now you know where it all stems from here.
Yeah. So 122 games I've live streamed so far. And I've still got I'm still behind by about 30 or 40.
Dude, that's crazy.
So it's so Meta Quest, I play the games, I love them. But there's a reason that I just stick with PSVR2, because that's more than enough. Yeah. And it's good to have people that cover the niches. It's good to have your foot in other headsets, because it's good to see what else is on the market. Although I still haven't played Batman yet. I need that to change. Yeah, and I'm a massive fan of Camouflage with what they did with Iron Man.
Which was great.
But yeah, that is kind of it in a nutshell. It wasn't much of a nutshell. It was a bit of a ramble, but that's me.
It was a really good nutshell. And I think it's just super cool. I love that you found a passion, you found something you really, really liked, and you're like, I'm just going to do this. And you've enjoyed it this entire time. We talked about this briefly right before we started. We were kind of like waiting to get going, because we wanted to finish. We wanted to wait until PSVR without Pro was almost done.
Yeah.
But we were
they are done now, by the way. So.
Like, now I feel better. Like Brian will be calling me in like a little while.
Yeah, they ended it because we were doing it and they felt really bad.
Yeah, they're like, screw that. We can't go up against them. So I'm going to shut down. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit just to say, for me, I think go to whatever platform you want. Like, if you want to just be PlayStation, just be PlayStation. But I mean, or if you want to just be Meta, just be Meta. If you want to do both, that's where, like, if you can do both, that's like where the happy medium is. Like, go if you can do PCVR and PlayStation. Like, I don't ever want to limit myself to playing one thing or the other, or missing out on experiences because I'm like, I just can't touch another platform. And there are people out there that are like either like so pro Meta that they're like, I'm not touching anything else. I'm not going to PCVR. I'm not going to go and play PlayStation VR. I'm only going to play standalone, Meta. And then there's some people out there that are like PlayStation. You're like, nope, I'm never touching that Meta garbage headset. I'm not doing standalone VR. And for me, it was like, I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, again, you can just say like, I can't, I can't get there, or I can't have both. I just can't do both right now. But just to like close yourself off, just to say, because you just don't want to, or you just like, or you hate other people that do, just doesn't make a ton of sense for me. I'm like, play it wherever you can.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting because when I'm positive about Sony and PlayStation VR2, people are like, you're a pony, or whatever they say, like all this sort of stuff. And then when I criticize PlayStation, they're like, why are you hating on it? Shouldn't you be supporting it? It's like, no, I want to be intellectually honest. I want PlayStation VR2 to succeed. And that's only going to happen if you have the honest conversations about where they get things right and where they don't. And there's a lot of stuff they've definitely got right. There's a lot of stuff they've definitely got wrong. And I have to say, I think PlayStation has got better since launch with their attitude towards it. There are still things that I think they could improve on. I'd still want to see some first-party games get the VR treatment. The Last of Us VR would be, I think that is actually a system seller. We often talk about like what would be a VR system seller. Would Batman be? I think Batman possibly in some ways, but it wouldn't come anywhere close to like The Last of Us VR. I think that would become a system seller. Unlike Horizon Call of the Mountain, that probably did sell some because it was a launch title, but it wasn't like Horizon Forbidden West in VR. People want to play this game but in VR, like Destiny 2 and all this sort of stuff, because that's how you bring people across. You basically say, did you like playing this game? Now imagine being in that game. Can you imagine being that hero and in Destiny 2 doing raids with your friends in VR, or being on a stage with others in like Guitar Hero and stuff like that? I think that's a big part of the storytelling. But I always knew that the strategy for Sony to begin with was we just want PSVR owners to become PSVR2 owners. That's it. It's always the same with technology. It's all about early adopters. Same with PlayStation 5 Pro. They're just going to be the fanatics, the people that are happy to invest in tech early on. But then the next phase is, how do you now bring more people over? Because I'm just going to speak from my own experience here. When PSVR2 came out, I was very lucky. Sony sent me a free headset. Very grateful for that. I saw a lot of other PlayStation influencers in the UK get sent headsets, and they covered it. And I thought, this is great. I don't see them playing it anymore. And I don't know why exactly. But I think that there's more work that needs to be done there. But the truth is, to play VR, it's a big investment in terms of time, effort. It's physical. You need the space to do it. Yeah. I look at all the spaces you get in America in your homes compared to our cupboard little rooms. It's difficult. But yeah.
No, it can be. And to go back to it, there are a lot of ecosystems that you can go and play on. Pico, Pimax has a headset, Pico has a headset, PlayStation has a headset, Meta has a headset. Steam is PCVR is a viable place to go and play. If you're just talking like strength of libraries, what's there right now currently? I mean, there's a million PCVR games that are great. And to be fair, UEVR changes the deal when you can play that UEVR. But if we're talking strength of libraries, and we're going to say, okay, I'm a brand new VR user. Do I go buy a PlayStation VR 2 or do I go buy a Meta Quest? And price is not an issue. You have to take a pause for a minute because I know out there a lot of people's automatic answer is, well, go to Meta.
Yeah.
Go to Meta, because then it's standalone. It's got, it's got huge library. It's got the Meta, power behind it. You can hook it up to a PC. So go to Meta, that's the automatic answer. But I think you have to take a step back, Myles, and go, wait a minute. Can I get the same gaming experiences on Meta that I can get on PlayStation? And are those PlayStation VR 2 experiences good enough to make me go, I'm going to go buy that headset? And I have to say, I'm a huge Meta fan, but the library that you can get with the PlayStation VR 2 and some of those experiences, you can't get anywhere else. I'm going to say GT7, Gran Turismo 7 it's still probably one of the best experiences I've ever had in VR gaming. And then you put a wheel on that. It's next level. Like, you're getting to the point where I'm almost going to say, like, Resident Evil 4 remastered, in PSVR 2, Resident Evil 8 PlayStation VR 2, Horizon Call of the Mountain, for whatever you want to call it, was really, really good.
Yep.
I mean, what else am I missing? There's a ton of good, high quality, what I would consider AAA or close games that you can't get anywhere else.
But it's also the hardware component. And just on the Gran Turismo 7 thing, I bought a racing rig. It's under my stairs for it. And that alone justifies the price. If you're into racing sims, so like, I don't know what it is in the US, but in the UK, to buy a racing rig, like a racing sim rig, you're talking thousands of dollars. And those are the racing rigs where on the front, it's 3 monitors around you. because they don't do the curve monitor on those racing rigs. This, you're actually in the car. You look behind you, you can see the back seats, you get the lighting coming through the shadows, and being able to race online with like 20 other players is just like the most wild experience. So like that alone is a system seller. And I will never forget the day before. What's the event in Vegas that Sony speaks at? Is it CES?
CES, yep.
Yeah. The day before that, I remember I messaged a friend saying, "Are you getting PSVR2?" And I said, and he says he was thinking about it. And he's a massive Gran Turismo person. I said, if they announce Gran Turismo 7 for PSVR2 tomorrow, would you get it? And he goes, yeah. And then I let him know. And he literally went out and bought it all. You know, the reason people like me get consoles is not only because I don't have a PC, but anything that you play or you buy for it is going to work straight away. But the point I wanted to make on the hardware before I went off on that quick tangent was the haptics, the adaptive triggers, the headset rumble, the eye tracking, the immersion you get in there.
Lenses.
Right. But I do wish they had pancake lenses. Like when I'll get to that in a moment, because that is a problem I have with PSVR 2, which makes it very hard for me to show family members and people that aren't really into it. But just to give you a few gaming examples that really use the hardware, eye tracking, not Rush of Blood, Switchback. Switchback. When you go into that room that says don't blink, you're surrounded by mannequins, and every time you blink, the mannequins move. And you're like, I didn't just blink, but you don't see them move because it literally does it when you blink. Madison VR, scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Agreed.
You hear a tape recording of a priest talking about the symptoms of possession. You get nausea, your ears ring, you get a pulsating headache, and you walk down the corridor. You start getting ringing in your ears. Your headset vibrates, and you literally get a pulsating headache. That kind of immersion is unbelievable. And so, like, there's a lot of times where the PSVR 2 version of a Quest game is superior because it does get the adaptive triggers. And the other game I think about is, have you ever played Before Your Eyes?
I have. That was probably one of the most powerful experiences I've ever done. Like, forget about the whole. I mean, the whole idea of blinking and moving this, your life forward is super cool.
Yeah,
but just the actual story itself, but that's one of those emotional journeys that only can be captured in VR. Like, it does not have the same impact if you play that flat.
That's the empathy machine thing right there. Like, you're literally in someone's shoes. Yeah, I played it and I took the headset off and I was like in tears. And then when I live streamed it, I knew what the story was going to do. I was in tears again. Like, if you've never played it, people, Before Your Eyes, it's like a 90-minute, 2-hour thing. Absolutely beautiful. And I was true. Like, this is why I love the platform. So yeah, those are a few examples. The negative piece I was going to say about the lenses compared to Pancake is, at Christmas time, I take my PSVR 2 over to my parents. Everyone's had a few to drink, and when you put the headset on, you sort of say, let me know when there's the sweet spot you can see, and they go, I think it's clear. They have no frame of reference. They don't know what is clear and what isn't. And so it's very difficult. Whereas with a Quest 3 headset, you put it on, it's just like, yeah, you're good to go. And that is the one thing about PSVR 2. I wish they did an iteration of it with the pancake lenses, because that would then make it a no-brainer for people. I can say it here because, no offense, Eric, my parents probably aren't going to be watching this. But I'm getting my parents, if money allows, a headset for Christmas. And I do have a spare PS5 now because of my PS5 Pro. But I am probably going to get them the Quest 3 because I'm just like, that's just going to be easier. And it also comes with social experiences like big screen that I only started using the last couple of months. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
And that is another thing where Sony have totally dropped the ball. Like they created PlayStation Home. Rec Room has decided not to come over. Gorilla Tag just has. But Sony also owns Sony Pictures.
Yeah.
Why have they not got a virtual cinema app where you can like pay for movie tickets? Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, that's one. One of the things, like, so what I talked about was like strength of library. Now they have probably some of the best games that you're going to find, and forget about PlayStation VR 2. PlayStation VR 1 still has some of the best games that you're ever going to find, even now. But you're right; they have dropped the ball on the entertainment side of it, which is funny since it's an entertainment company, like you said, Sony Pictures, like that's what that's what they're known for. For them not to include, why can't I play PlayStation? Why can't I play, my 3D movies or my Blu-ray movies in the headset? Like, Meta has started to at least come around with this stuff where they're getting closer to like what the Apple Vision Pro can do for like a cinema experience. But you're right, big screen has been here for a long time. You don't think that PlayStation has the money or Sony has the money enough to go pay a good company to make something like big screen? If they can't get big screen, go find. They could make their own and
Right,
do
this is it.
VR, pictures, and have it in there and do their own environments.
There was a
theme Sony environments would be cool.
Yeah, I genuinely had hopes that when I turned on my PSVR2, you were going to start off in like a virtual home and like your trophies, because PlayStation released in the last couple of years PlayStation Stars. It's this like initiative where completing certain tasks or spending money, you get like little 3D models of like a PlayStation VR2 headset or characters from games, and you can turn them around and look at them, or a bobblehead of Shuei Yoshida, who we all love from PlayStation. And I thought, this is great. This must be for a virtual PlayStation VR2 home space, and it wasn't there. So yeah, look, PlayStation. The good side of it is the ceiling has not been hit yet. Like, technically speaking, this is all feasible and it's all doable. But just going back to big screen, like how much it blew my mind. About 2 years ago, and I know we're going to be talking about this later, I got tickets to the Game Awards, but they were doing a screening in an IMAX in London, and my good friend Luke got me a ticket, and we went in. But it started at midnight in the UK till like 4 a.m, and then getting back from London afterwards. Thank goodness I wasn't driving. But we were in this massive IMAX watching the Game Awards, and it was amazing. But then having to get home afterwards was a nightmare. Going into big screen, and I was watching like live streams on YouTube in this big screen theater, and you see like the light in reflection on the chairs around you. It's incredibly immersive. I just thought, Game Awards this year, I'm going to be watching it in something that feels like the IMAX, but in my comfy couch at home with all the gin and tonics I could possibly want. Yeah, cheers. Cheers to that.
This is going to be trouble.
Yeah, man. Like the social component, man, is just, and I know not everyone likes VR for the social. Some people want to keep to themselves and don't like co-op games. For me, the games I like most are Phasmophobia or Arizona Sunshine. Did you ever play Survive? The zombie game Survive?
Survive is great.
I loved it, man. It's super janky, but dude, like playing that with friends, a really good time. And again, it's about the empathy machine, about being in a shared space with other people. And like when you point somewhere and you see your friends pointing and trying to complete objectives together, or just hanging out and chilling. Like Oktoberfest we worked on recently. That game, man, that is my kind of game. Just like hanging out.
One of the best social games, right? That's just a game you can go in and have fun with. You don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff. You can go in there. You can just like have fun, be stupid, ride some rides. You can cheers, grab a couple of beers and like cheers your beer and like and just have fun and talk to everybody. And our excuse me, our whole company, tries to get in and like hang out and do stuff in VR from time to time. And like some of the best moments that we've had as a company getting in. And just going into Oktoberfest, and then like, getting a picture of us all together, like in the VR, in the game. I mean, those are some cool, super moments that only VR affords you to do those things. And yeah, to me, like you said, empathy machine, you said, immersion, powerful, impactful. Those are the things that VR brings you.
I do really want us to have our next all hands meeting in Gorilla Tag.
That's not going to happen.
Can you imagine? I would just love to see. I would love to just see one of leadership just like going through serious figures. Like we've got to talk about something really serious right now. This is really serious, and then everyone's just like gorillas. It'd be the best thing ever. It'd be so good.
Oh my god, that would be all right. Now we got to do it. Now we definitely.
Myles, stop climbing up that tree. Get down here. We're trying to have a conversation.
Oh man, I love it. I do like, I know, and I don't even, a lot of people probably don't know this, but like we do try and meet every Friday as a company in virtual reality in Horizon workrooms. Like
that is amazing.
And again, we want to talk about impactful. You want to talk about like feeling a sense of presence. Myles is in England. We have people in Spain, we have people in Germany, we have people in Canada. Todd lives almost probably farther away from me in Canada than Miles lives away from me in England. But that's how far it is. You know what I mean? Jasmine's in California, which is a 7-hour flight for me. 6-hour flight. But we can all get in together as a company. As 20 plus people. Just on the VR and the PR and marketing side, we can get in there and have a sense of being together that you cannot get normally. In a standard call on Google or in Discord.
Yeah, the sense of immersion in that place is amazing. It's just like if someone's speaking from a distance. Actually, do you know, it's saying that's a lot of Quest users will be like, yeah, we know this, but I still can't get over how good the audio is on a Meta Quest. You're not wearing headphones. And the first time I really experienced it was when I went to see, I got invited by Fast Travel Games to check out their studio start of 2023. And I was trying out one of their games with one of their devs. And so we were playing co-op in the same room. And it was only then that I really appreciated having that headset, because it means I get the 3D audio and I can hear people in the room. Because sometimes there's that worry about and sometimes you do want to completely seal yourself off from the external environment. But that was like a perfect example of no, two of us can be in a VR game. We have the 3D audio of hearing where enemies are coming from and projectiles are coming in that we need to defend against. But we can also have a conversation and communicate in the room as well. And I'm still blown away by how good the audio design is. I still actually don't know where the speakers actually are on the headset. I've not actually worked that out yet.
They're hidden.
Yeah.
They're cool. They're right in the arms, right? They do it really. They actually do it in a super good functional way where it doesn't matter what strap you put on, of course, because it's in the short piece that actually comes on the side of the headset, and it's just in a very small strip that sits on top. But you're right. The amount of audio that you can get out of it, and this is something that has evolved over time. The original Quest was pretty good, but it wasn't great. They did some software updates, made it better along the way. Quest 2 was a little bit better. Microphones have been an issue in the past of not being great, and it's tough to have, social experiences when you have a bad microphone and then you're having to use a third-party mic, which can be a huge source of problems. But now I think they've got it down pretty well. To me, the Quest 3, Quest 3S, some of the best audio you're going to find, like you said, and the microphone's great. It works really well. You don't really need an outside microphone. I mean, sometimes for recording purposes, if you're a content creator, you may want to use a microphone that's separate. But if you're just doing, social experiences, you don't need anything else. This is it.
Yeah. And the quality you can get on a standalone headset now, because that was always the thing of play PSVR2 to be able to be plugged in to have better quality. And to be honest, that still is the case. But the bar below it from standalone, with what we're seeing with Batman and things like that, it is phenomenal what's been done. And that's best for both headset owners, because it's good for PSVR2 because it means that there's more chance of stuff getting ported over. And it's good for people that just want standalone. The argument about it's so much better playing without a wire, I both agree with it, but also feel like it's not a deciding factor for me. I have a setup where having a cable does not bother me at all. And I would always choose to have wired with a better experience. Obviously, depending on the game. The one thing the Quest 3 has got is mixed reality, which some of the mixed reality experiences I've played have blown me away. Drop Dead Drop Dead Cabin?
Yeah, Drop Dead the Cabin, Home Invasion.
Whoa, yeah. That's definitely something I put people into. I mean, I think something that's a really good test of headsets and what they offer is if you were putting people in these headsets for the first time, what is it that you would show them first?
Yeah,
and so
that's a good one. That's a great one to put them in,
because it's a very different conversation to what some of the best games are. And I'll give you an example. Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. Some of the best VR games we've had. It's not a good game to put people in for the first time because they have quite slow starts. And you have to really play it a long time to appreciate the deep mechanics and what is on offer. But things like, Drop Dead is a great example. That's something you can dive into. Actually, is it Ocean Rift?
Yeah.
Ocean Rift, that is one of the first things I put people into. Just say, this is what mixed reality does. And the fact that It maps the room, and again, any of you that got headsets are going like, "Oh God, Miles is just
He's crazy about the mapping of the heads.
getting crazy about the obvious."
Yeah.
But the fact that you can create windows, and no matter where you're walking around in the space, it is fixed. Like there's no juttering. It is fixed in place. Is technically incredible. Even to the point that when I was at my parents' house and I walk into the garden and I haven't mapped the new area yet, I can see the room in the house in like all the way over there. Like the fact it works it out is just mind blowing to me. So
you know what I think? If you're a PlayStation owner and you want to put somebody new into the headset for the first time, I mean, Resident Evil 7, it's just it's a no brainer. Put them in. Put him in Resident Evil 7. Put him in the kitchen scene.
I put my dad in Resident Evil 7, and he took it off after the scene where you go down the ladder. I'm not going to say anything more than that. The Blair Witch Project, and he didn't want to make the guy turn around. But my dad turned it off and said, "That's one of the most disturbing things I've ever experienced." And I was like, "I love you, Dad. I'm proud of you for doing that." Like I just wanted people, because you always get these people that go horror, like VR horror. It's not that bad. But when you put them in it changes. One of the best horror games actually on PSVR2 is Afflicted the Manor.
Yeah.
Like I never played it on PSVR, and I was on a show on PSVR Without Parole with Brian talking about it when it was coming out, and he's like, it's like a haunted house. That took me off guard. When I live streamed that, my heart rate went through the roof. That game is terrifying, and I actually think that's a good starter as well for people.
You mentioned Madison earlier. So I've played pretty much everything, and what I'll say, and what I always say is this: VR can make a mediocre flat horror game terrifying. Like you could have a flat, console PC horror game that you're like, it's not that scary. No,
right.
It's all right. It's just okay. You take that and you put it in VR, it can be horrifying. And Madison VR is one of those games to me. Like Madison VR, if you've played it flat, it's okay. It's still a good experience, but it's not as scary. It's not anywhere near as scary. You put that, Miles, you get down in that one scene when you're in the water.
Yep.
And you're in that little square area and shit's happening around you. And a couple of things that happen during the middle of that when you're like having to take photos and like getting flashes of light. I mean, literally, it make you scream, like literally scream in your house. Like that's how scary it is.
But the flat screen was rated scientifically the scariest game ever made. So to bring that to VR, I mean, I've only done 90 minutes in it. I do want to go back to it, but
you haven't finished it. You haven't gone more than 90 minutes.
No, yeah. No. For a while now, I've been too emotionally fragile to go into that. Like that is a bruising game. But Madison, man, is incredible, and it's a real good test for people of like how to create a real sense of presence and also dread. Dread is the VR horror component I struggle with. There's fun horror. I can deal with fun horror where it makes you jump, but also like Five Nights at Freddy's. That's a great example. That's fun horror.
Happy Funland.
Yeah. But like where there's dread, like one of the first live streams I did for actually the first PSVR2 live stream I did was Resident Evil 8, and people can check it on my channel. I've done a highlight cut, and I have a swear counter alongside my heart monitor. The swear counter, I think, it goes up to like 200. My parents had to turn off the live stream. They'd never heard me swear so much in my life.
God, yes. And like Miles.
Because it felt so real, and I was like, and I wonder how I would cope now, because the thing that VR horror has done now is like the last few months I've been watching horror movies, Home Alone. I would have never have done that in my life. But the reason why is once you've played VR horror movies or regular horror games, it's in that safe little box in the corner of the room. It's over there. Yeah. Like if you don't want to look at it, you can look away. In VR, you can't look around.
No, you're stuck. Shout out to our very own Team Beef who did the Madison VR.
Yeah,
you did a great job.
Hyped with them. I've actually got here behind the physical version.
Look at that. That's number one. Just having a physical version
and having great. Team Beef on the back.
Yeah,
and then in it, it's got. This is amazing. They've got the Elizabeth Maxwell photo.
Oh, so good.
And then they've got the. I won't do it too much for spoilers, but like they've got Luca's book with all the drawings, and they've even got the cremation certificate.
That is amazing. Look how cool that is.
Yeah.
Look how cool.
Yeah, really cool. So that was in the. I assume it's in all physical versions. That was done via Perp Games as well. Perp Games I've got a lot of love for. They do great stuff. But yeah,
Myles, we got VRAL Games in the chat. Says hi, Eric and Myles.
What up?
What's going on? VRAL making some of the coolest games out there. If you guys haven't played V Rider,
oh,
you see
which got announced. Which got announced for PSVR2, which I'm super hyped for. Have you got that helmet? Go get it. Go get it.
We could get it.
Yeah.
All right, I have to take my headphones.
And while you do that, I'll have a little sip of G&T. Jonathan in the chat says, WTF, it's Myles. What time is it? I should be in bed. You should be in bed. Yeah, it's 1:20 a.m. This is one of the coolest PR things ever. And I love what Viral Games does. And V Rider.
No, it was VRAL. They're viral games.
Yeah, V Rider was the first project I ever worked on when I joined Impact, actually.
Look at that.
So close to my heart.
This is like a legitimate helmet, Myles.
I know. Although it does say in the PR box, don't wear it on an actual bike.
But I really think you could. Like literally, if I was gonna, I would rather have this on than like it. You know, I mean, come on.
I know.
How badass is that? I have a lot of cool stuff that I put in my background. This has to literally be one of the coolest things.
Dude, tell me, right? V Rider, I think it's going to do well on PSVR2 because, and this is not, I promise, this is not a slam at Quest gamers. But if you own PSVR2, you're an actual gamer and you love simulation games.
I thought you were going to call them all pussies or something.
No. But like, you think of Gran Turismo and like simulators, like those hardcore people with PS5s, like they're going to like V Rider. Like if you like Gran Turismo and you want to be able to lean on your bike around the corner, I think it's gonna do well. So yeah,
me too. It's gonna be super cool. It's one of the better games out there. And Myles working on Squingle now.
Squingle's happening now.
Such a unique game. Like it's one of the. So I've played. Just so you know, I played Squingle on so many different devices. I actually played Squingle on my Vive Flow. If anybody knows what that is.
I don't know what that is. You'd have to educate me.
So Vive made like a pair of like goggles that are tiny. They're literally like glasses, and they're called the Vive Flow. No controllers. You basically use your phone to control everything. And the only game that came on it was Squingle, and you could actually use your phone to control, the movement of Squingle. And it was the only good game that they ever did on the Vive Flow. It was like one of the worst headsets ever, but Squingle was on it. It was super cool.
That is super cool. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm a massive fan of games like Tetris Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Tetris Effect Connected is one of my all-time favorite VR games. And that was a game I put a friend in who'd never experienced VR before. And the way she worded it, I'll never forget. She took the headset off and she says, I felt as though I didn't exist anymore. As in, it was so immersive, I had completely disconnected from my body. And yeah, Squingle definitely has the vibe of Tetris Effect. And obviously, they're going with mixed reality a lot as well, which is super cool. Being able to play puzzles in your own space. So yeah, that's out this Thursday.
Yeah, hell yeah! Shout out Squingle. Shout out Viral Games. Myles, let's talk a little bit about because this is something I've been really wanting to get into, and this is, and I know you haven't had a chance to do this yet, but this is probably one of the things. So let's back this up and just say I love PlayStation VR2. I love Sony. Okay, I have been one of the biggest proponents of the PlayStation VR2, and then when they had their little problem and down period, I've probably been one of the most vocal people about. Why isn't Sony supporting their headset? Why do we have to push this headset more than Sony does? Why do I feel like I care about this headset sometimes more than Sony does? So I have been I have been a defender and I have been a critic.
Yep.
So I will say this, when they do something epic, I have to come out and say they have done something epic. And this thing right here is one of these most epic things that Sony has ever done. And people are like, it's a gimmick. They're bailing out this. I don't care why they did it. Why they did it doesn't matter. The fact that they did it, Myles, and they actually allow you to unlock the headset off of the console that they care about selling and allow you to go play amazing PC games is a big freaking deal. So the detractors out there like giving Sony a hard time because they put this out there makes no sense to me. Myles, I know you haven't had a chance to try this yet, but this is a huge deal. And I guarantee you have thought about now going to figure out how I'm going to go get a PC so I can do this, right?
So a couple of questions. I've seen some people talk about it, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Firstly, if you're going to play a PC VR game, is the PSVR2 headset going to be a top contender?
So that's a really good question. And I haven't had a ton of time to try. Like I literally have just gotten into this, like, cause I was away in California. I didn't have my PlayStation with me. And so I didn't buy one right away. I got one when I got back and I've had a chance to test it out a little bit.
What did you test it on?
I tested it on Half-Life Alyx, of course, because it's the easiest one to go to.
I love that on their promotion material, the blog post, they had Half-Life Alyx on the screen. The best way to just, am I allowed to put the middle fingers up? I'm not, but it's like the best way of going, this is the thing PSVR2 players have always wanted. Well, you can play it now on a PC.
Yeah, of course. It's the one you go to. It's like your go-to one. But there's so many good ones you can do now. And here's what it unlocks, Myles. It's not even the huge library that's on the PC store. It's every mod that you can now do, right? Because you're not
Yep.
on PlayStation 5, you're not playing any modded games. And we have this UEVR, injector mod now.
Which is so impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, that allows you to do anything, right? In VR, pretty much. And it does it pretty well. So to be able to unlock that with the headset is a big deal. So I'll say this. Now, Wes is probably a better judge than me because he's had way more time in it. I know this. He's got a lot of headsets he could choose from. And cheers on Myles making his second drink and
third. But
I'm gonna be drunk by the time we're done with this.
It's good. So it's Monday. Got to fuel up.
Let's go. It's like there's nothing going on at work. No. But so Wes is probably the better judge than me, and he has told me that this is the headset he's going to go play on now. So every time he's going to go PCVR, he's going to use this headset, and he could use his HP Reverb G2, which is a great, super high fidelity headset. He could go use a number of Quest, headsets. He's got Quest 2, he's got Quest 3, he's got Quest 3S. He could go do any of those. He's going to take his PlayStation VR2, and I will tell you, there is a good argument to be made that this could be now the best PC VR headset. Where I would have said Quest by far was the best PC VR because of affordability. Quest by far was the best PC VR headset before. Now because of this, there's a point to be made that the PlayStation VR2 now is the best PC VR headset.
And that's considering a lot of the features on it are deactivated, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think you're starting to see that open up a little bit. But yes, could you imagine if every game adaptive triggers work? If the headset rumble worked, if the fovea rendering worked, the eye tracking worked on every game.
This, for me as an outsider, the reason I'm most excited about it, and it is a lot to do with the Unreal VR injector, is democratizing the VR space, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on Sony to port games. I spoke at the beginning of this live stream about the early days of YouTube and what I saw in the culture, but what YouTube did to television is exactly what the Unreal Engine injectors, VR injectors, going to do to VR gaming, which was back in the early YouTube days. Broadcast television, what you would do is you'd have all these broadcasters that go, we're going to commission a series of this. We're going to put this money up front. We're going to film it, put it out there, see what the ratings are, and decide if we are going to recommission it. But then over time, with the build of YouTube, they could actually look out there. Oh, look at this YouTube channel with X, 100,000 views or millions of followers. They've proven they've been able to build an audience. There's an audience for what they do. So we're now going to fund them to basically continue what they're doing, but with higher budget and stuff like that. And the reason I bring it up is that is literally what I think is going to be happening here, is if X number of people are playing Returnal VR mod on a headset, once it gets to a certain amount of critical mass, it's like the devs might go, well, actually, we could work on this and actually make it polish it up, because it's not polished, the injector stuff, they're mods. But to have, and it's not to say they're bad, they're incredible from what I've seen. But this is the kind of stuff where Sony could actually look here and see, this is doing pretty well. Okay, this is worth putting it's less of a risk, because we live in a world now where risk aversion is at an all-time high, especially with AAA games. Look at what Sony did with Concord. There was like at 200 million to acquire, never mind what the development costs were afterwards. And, the cost, incredible. So, so me as an outsider, I think that this is really the dawn of an exciting new part of the VR space, where it's going to allow games to be developed officially that weren't ever going to be considered before, because the demand is not just going to be something that's just uttered on Twitter by people saying, we want this, we want this. You're going to see hundreds of thousands of people playing these VR mods, and the developers are going to be like, fuck, we could be making money from this. Let's contact Flat to VR and see what they can do, right?
Our numbers posted everywhere.
What is it? 0800 Flat to VR?
Channels are always open. we can get something like 1-800 Flat to VR doc. Yeah, we definitely should do that. So here's my biggest question, and this is something I've been thinking about now for quite a little bit of time, especially since I've heard about this rumored price drop for the PlayStation VR2 headset. If you're somebody who has a PC, who's got a good card, and you don't have VR, this holiday season, are you buying a PlayStation VR2 headset to be for PCVR, or are you going to go buy a Quest? Like, and now with the price, like, I'm like, okay, most people have a PlayStation already. So now I already have a PlayStation, but I really want to do PC gaming. I don't really care about PlayStation gaming, but I want to do PC gaming. I can get this for, I don't know, how much is this, Myles? 50, 60 bucks? I think it's 50 bucks, something like that. I can get that for 50 bucks, and I can go get the headset, which I heard is going to be $335. That's a tough choice now. I think there's a good chance you go PlayStation. We could see a shift here, like literally, if they have enough of them, Myles, which I don't know how many they have made. You could see a shift here in this holiday season if they really push this as a sale, that you see sales of the PlayStation VR2 rival the Quest 3, Quest 3S.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't tip over the edge, it's a wonderful marketing tool, because what you're basically doing is allowing some PCVR gamers who do like PSVR2 headset, who are going to be live streaming it or taking photos of it. People are going to be seeing it and going, oh, okay, that looks cool. What are they playing on? They've chosen that. All right, I might consider getting it. Like, it's that multiplier effect of marketing. It's social proofing, seeing people play it in the world and decide, yeah, maybe I should consider it as well. Whereas at the moment, it's just seen like, oh, I could get it, but I've got to buy a PS5 first. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I get why people might want to go and push, Quest 3. It makes sense. It's got a huge standalone library. There's a lot of games there you can play that you're not going to get on PlayStation. But fidelity-wise, PlayStation's a better headset. Like, it just is. Especially if you're going to go and play it on the PlayStation, PlayStation 5. I mean, the experiences you're going to get on PlayStation 5 far outweigh graphically and fidelity-wise what you're going to get standalone. So you're going to be able to play, a Resident Evil 4 remastered. I mean, Resident Evil 4 on Quest is great. It's a great game. I played all the way through it. It's amazing. It's not Resident Evil 4 remastered on PlayStation 5. I mean, PSVR 2. It's not. It's just not. It's not even close.
I think the Quest is going to absolutely dominate this holiday, but I do think that PSVR 2 is going to have a really good showing, especially with these leaked Black Friday deals that we've seen. We can touch
price.
Yeah.
What did you see for leaks on this?
It was on was it Press Square? Was the article page? Let me have a look. I'll bring it up here. Push Square. Here we go. I could actually share my screen and show this. Let's have a look.
VR Central is here. He said he sees that Todd Grew Heron has a British accent.
Here we go. So
let me make this big.
I'll zoom in as well. So this was a report from Saturday by Liam Croft, and this was something that appeared and then got taken down. But these are the prices that we want to see. Supposedly from 22nd November to the 12th of December. Now this isn't in dollars, but just to say the simple piece, which is the PlayStation 5 Slim Digital and the PSVR2 headset, which, by the way, they reckon the PSVR2 is going to be sold at the same price as the PSVR2 with Horizon Call of the Mountain, which could just be because they're like, we just want to get as much out the door as possible. But you can get the PS.
Already have them packed in still, right? So they have all that stock that already has them packed in. So they'd have to actually take them out in some way, which I don't think they would want to do.
That's true. So PS5 Slim Digital with the PSVR2 is cheaper than what I paid for the PlayStation 5 Pro. So for me, if that's what comes out, it's going to be a really, really good deal. But I just wish that when you bought a PSVR2 headset, it came with even a month of PlayStation Plus Premium, because that comes with like Synapse,
right,
or Synapse, or like a massive batch of games. One of the problems is if you're getting people to invest all this money to get a console, then a headset, or even just the headset, then like what games have you got to play with? Like you don't have PlayStation Plus with all these different games on the standard. Whereas on PSVR, they always came with PlayStation Worlds, which was amazing. It was like, here's a taster. Here's a palette of like all the different experiences you can have. I do wish they had a demo offering. Although I don't think the demos are available to anyone that doesn't have PlayStation Plus Premium, which is why it should be included in the box.
Agreed.
That's another thing. Whereas on Quest, there's a lot of free games that you can play. I mean, there's starting to be some free games on PSVR 2, but not many.
Yeah, it just needs a little bit more. Like, see, and to me, Myles, like, there's a lot of people out there like, this headset was a failure. It wasn't good, or it's not the PlayStation VR 1. And for me, the headset itself is not a failure. Like, I don't believe this headset's great. Like, there's a lot of hugely great points about this headset. Some of the best gaming experiences I've had in the last years have been on this headset.
Yeah.
The failure was Sony and their marketing plan, and the failure to do things properly, and what I believe is a shift of their upper management and where their focus was. That's the failure to me. It's not the headset. Not the headset's fault in any way. It's not the developer's fault. That's some great games.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because now you've got Herman Holst and Hideaki Nishino, who are now heading up Sony, and Herman Holst is on the studio side, whereas Hideaki is on the sort of hardware side. And my understanding is that Hideaki is very pro PlayStation,
right?
VR.
But we don't know where Herman Holst is. Like, I have a feeling he's not. Like,
I that's the feeling I get.
Because I was like, I didn't know where Jim Ryan sat either. Like, I was like,
I don't know either. Yeah,
I'm like, was Jim the big proponent of VR? Like, where was he? Like, I know, so he was holding a lot of the reins here during this whole process. So he had to be like, yes, let's go put billions of dollars into this new PlayStation VR 2 headset. But like, I don't know, like when he decided to step back or step down, like where was that this changeover? Where was the focus change where they were like, here's this headset, let's push it out, to like crickets and like no marketing, and like we're not going to push it, and it's going to be super expensive, and we're going to pull all first party support.
The only defense I have for Sony and the lack, well, they did some marketing. I mean, they sent it out to creators and stuff like that, but it wasn't a massive push. My only defense of it was they knew that with the quantity they had to sell, they just had to get PSVR owners to adopt PSVR 2. Like, they were guaranteed to sell them anyway, so that's all they had to worry about. The question was the next phase. Once you've established that, you now have an opportunity to bring down the price, which we are starting to see.
This is awesome.
But we're living in an age where consoles have actually gone up in price, not gone down.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's been wild to see. And I don't say that in a defense in the overall scheme. I think marketing wise, there's been a lot of things. And then, not to throw shade at particular games, but the marketing they've done, where they've like done these like trailers with like 4 games featured on PSVR 2. They've included Project Wingman, which I'm sorry, I I played it. It's kind of cool. It's not a good game. Not like one of the premium games. And they also did Ghostbusters, which, by the way, by End Dreams, and I know End Dreams even before Impact. I know very well. I love End Dreams. I love them to pieces. Like Synapse, Fract, you name it. Little Cities, End Dreams, and they live just down the road from me. Like, I am always championing all the great stuff they're doing. But I was always great team. And Ghostbusters had a lot going for it, but there was a lot of things that were simple that were like missed. Like, it had a very repetitive game nature. I'm not going to get into it all now, but the fact that I understand also why that was showcased, because it's like a Sony Pictures property. Yeah. But for me, it's just like, there's so many like even indie games out there that they should be holding up that are amazing. I'm trying to think, what's the roguelike called? Light Brigade. Light Brigade.
Yeah.
Is a game that everyone.
Game.
Yeah.
And it's probably the best platform to play it on. Like, I've played it on every platform. Yeah. And PlayStation's probably the best place to play it.
Yeah.
And they never pushed it enough for sure.
Yeah. But like, overall, we're in a post-pandemic world, and and sort of the impact of it we're only feeling at the moment. Like, during the pandemic, yes, stuff was scaled down, but there was a lot of projects that were getting wrapped up. Just look at the way that sort of Sony showcases aren't really happening anymore, and like everyone is still going digital, and like obviously the price issues and inflation and the cost of living and all these kind of things, like these all factor in with it. And so I think I'm curious to see how long this console cycle is going to be. I mean, the PS5 Pro's just come out.
Yeah, I would say we got at least 2 or 3 more years then, right?
Yeah, I think it could be like another 4 years.
4 years, that's a long time.
I know, maybe not.
That's 9 years.
I know, but I think it could be. I mean, everyone even says now it still feels like it's just getting started. I don't know.
I don't even know if we'll see a PlayStation 7, like this PlayStation 7. Like, this is
that's true.
We'll see the PlayStation 6.
Yep.
The last console, the actual physical console that you see.
Yep.
It could be cloud streaming at that point. Like, I don't know if you're going to see a physical console anymore. Like because if we're talking 3 more years, that's probably going to be it. Like, I don't see them going to another physical version after that.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see how things work with cloud gaming and stuff like that. But yeah, and also on that, like with the PS5 Pro, one of the, we talked about how like early adopters of new technologies are people that are willing to put their hand in their pockets and like pay the premium because they want to support something. And PS5 Pro is definitely that kind of product. And I guess we can talk about it in a minute anyway, in terms of what it's done for VR. But the interesting case I've heard about PS5 Pro is the main reason it's been done is as a stepping stone to the PlayStation 6. So there are a lot of features on the PS5 Pro. You got PSSR, which is all about AI upscaling. I might get butchered for misrepresenting what it actually is. But there are a lot of features that have been done on here, which if they had not done anything and just kept PS5 and then done PS6, developers would have just been thrown into this new hole, and like it'd be like, shit, what are we dealing with? Whereas what they're saying is the PS5 Pro is allowing them to start using these technologies, allow developers to start getting their hands on it. So when the PS6 finally comes out, that's going to be based on 2, 3, 4, however many years it's going to be of research and development with a pool of, however millions of people that are going to own it. So the big question about PS5 Pro is it worth getting? And the honest answer is it's worth getting if you care about frame rates and high fidelity and you have the money to burn.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, having got it, and like what I've seen for VR, there's only one game that has really blown my mind with it so far. But it's not to say things aren't going to improve. We can start seeing patches and stuff. But like one of the things I'd love to see improved is like the removal of reprojection on VR games.
Oh my God!
And yeah. I'm not sure that's going to happen with PS5 Pro, because that's on the CPU side, I believe. Which
I think it would take the devs too to update. Like, I don't know if that's just an automatic. I don't think it is definitely an automatic upgrade, right? So that's the problem with a lot of this stuff is it's not just the hardware. The hardware has to be there, but then you need to have the dev to go back through and work on the software to take advantage of the hardware. And I just don't know if that kind of support is there. I hope it is. I just picked one up, Miles. So I have one.
Have you played any VR on it yet?
I haven't even opened it yet.
You haven't even opened it. Are you going to do an unboxing now? Are we going to do a live unboxing?
I could. It's like sitting here in a box. So
Let's do it.
And the only reason I got one, so everybody knows I'm building this arcade cabinet. Or not me, but I have somebody building me an arcade cabinet. And
no, say you are. Okay, you've been there with the hammer.
I'm building.
Yeah, tapping away.
I was going to have to get another PlayStation 5 to put in the cabinet because that's going to be part of it. Is you're going to be able to play PlayStation 5 games actually in the cabinet with controllers that'll be right on the base. So I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'll send that. So I'm like, am I going to just go buy another PlayStation 5 for another $100? I might as well get the Pro and let's see what I can take advantage of it. So, so I'm going to take advantage of it. And I didn't even know what the hell this thing looks like, Miles.
Here we go. All I'll say is I heard that the Xbox, the expensive model, had a really nice box it came in, whereas this doesn't feel.
It doesn't have
this is like you're gonna throw the box away straight away.
Oh really?
I don't know.
I like boxes though. I keep boxes.
I try to. I mean, I don't have a back wall with all those headsets. I love the aim control in the background. Oh, I miss the aim controller.
Oh, I know, right? I love showing off the aim controller. You don't get a chance to that's one of the things I'm still upset about is like not having anything. Farpoint probably even now today is in my top 5 of all-time favorite VR games.
Right.
I played that game 95% completion in one sitting the first time I ever played it. That's how good it was. Like, I didn't want to give up playing it. Like, that's how you know you've got a good game.
That is true. Mepper in the chat was just asking me any thoughts on why Sony didn't spend some money on migrating top PSVR 1 games onto PSVR 2. My theory behind this is, and by the way, it's incredibly disappointing, so I just want to preface that by saying it. My theory is what I was saying earlier about the phases of adoption. It wouldn't surprise me if they're like, we're going to wait long enough that PSVR 2 has been adopted by so many people that they're people that never played it on PSVR. So once it gets announced, the PSVR owners who are on PSVR 2 go, oh my God, it's finally coming back. And you also have a massive pool of people that have never played it before that are listening and going, wow, I've got to play it as well. And are going to be paying the full price, not just the upgrade fee. That might be giving PlayStation way too much credit for doing 4D chess when they're not. But yeah, there's a lot that Blood and Truth, Astrobot, The Persistence.
Oh, Persistence is one of my favorite games. It's such a good it's like one of the best roguelites that you'll ever play. 90% of the people don't even know about. Like, I guarantee this, most people in chat
Fire Sprite
probably never heard of The Persistence. It's a PC game too, by the way. So
now, did the PC version have free hands?
No, you had to use a controller.
Okay. Which is what I'm like, that's surely what the PSVR 2 version would have. But obviously, Fire Sprite are in a difficult situation. They had to be downsized.
Well, so many of these studios, especially Sony-owned studios.
What do you make of the packaging?
Okay, it's very, it's very Sony. Like it looks exactly like the original look like.
Dude,
I gotta say, though,
it's light.
It is light. And it's actually pretty. It's way smaller.
It is smaller. It's like the slim size, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's pretty sleek. I actually like the look of it. It's like I like the black stripe on the sides. It's kind of cool.
I'll never forget one of my close friends, Luke. He bought the PS5, and that it is just massive. And he just said his wife came down one day and went, "What is that?" Just like, what is that? Just in the corner of the room. It's like it's like a monolith. And it's yeah. No, I didn't get the physical, so there's no disc, right? You have to buy the. Oh no, you have to. Oh, sorry, yes. Yeah. So wait, so you're paying a premium price, $700 plus taxes, I believe. Yep. You don't get the vertical stand.
Nope.
and you don't get a disc drive. It's the Pro, by the way, but you do have to buy these two things. Disc drives are completely sold out in the UK, so we still can't get them. Brian Paul from Without Parole, he wanted to try out No Man's Sky, and he went to play it, and he was like, "Oh, I've got it on disc."
Oh no!
So he and then the price has gone up, so he had to pay $60 again for it. So the game that I've played that's blown my mind in it is No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky looks phenomenal, like incredible in it. The other game I played where I was like, I think this looks better was Kayak VR Mirage.
Favorites.
But it always looked good. Brian says he can't tell the difference. They said that the textures have gone from 4K to 8K, and I think that is a thing. Now, some people were asking, why go to 8K if it's a 4K display? It just means that when you're closer to an object, you're still going to have that high resolution,
right?
And it also means that you're just getting a sharper image, like less aliasing and shimmering and stuff like that. But yeah.
Myles, I don't think I need the base. Like, I just put it on. Like, do I have?
That's what I thought, but I've been told it might blow up. But that might be just a scare tactic. I hear like you need the ventilation underneath. It does stand up on its own like that.
Will it sit in the old base if I use the base on the old? I don't know if
I don't think so. If you have the slim, yes, but not if the regular. And also, when I set mine up, I had a 2 terabyte extra, and I had all my PSVR2 games on it. I literally unplugged it, put it in it, and it was instantly that was amazing. My 200 and whatever games it was on there, instantly. I'm
kicking myself because now I'm just thinking I'm going to need to go get another hard drive for this thing because I have a hard drive that is internal.
Oh, but you're using it on that one as well.
On that one, I think I want to keep it because it's got games on it. I don't, right? So I want to keep that in there. So I'm gonna. This thing is going to cost me a freaking much as a car by the time I'm done.
Yeah.
By the time I go get the base for it, the disk drive, plus I'm gonna have to get another probably 5 terabyte, internal drive. Holy crap!
You do, you do get a stand with it though for the horizontal mode. It's like these two little things that you put on it, so you can put it. It looks rubbish horizontal.
Does it? Yeah.
Do you remember the PSVR? PlayStation 2 era? You could have it on its side, and then you could have it vertical, and then there was all the things about it.
Vertical.
Yeah, but it's fucked up the disk drive eventually.
Right.
Yep. It couldn't scan after a while. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like to me, like if you're going to charge $700 American for this thing, I mean, you should give them the stand with it. Like I need a stand.
If it's the Pro, it should be. Like everything should have all the features, not less. This is the wild thing.
That's like, I mean, you're going to call the Apple Vision Pro the Apple Vision Pro, and then they're not going to give you a battery when you go.
Right.
Like what do you mean? It's the Pro. Like I got to have everything. Everything should be here.
But this is the thing, dude. I think this is the stepping stone towards the future of gaming is digital only. They want you digital.
I agree. No, I agree. They don't want a disk drive. They don't want you to own physical copies. They want you to go everything digital
because it's like 30% cut on the store. Whatever, a third. They take a third probably.
Yeah. No, it makes It makes a ton of sense to do it that way for them. I completely get it. Like and you know what? Again, it's just gonna be the way it's like. I don't know. I don't think we'll see another Xbox console ever. Do you
ever?
Ever. I think this is it. I don't think
but they've said the next console is going to be the biggest technical leap. But you're right, it might be a cloud device. But
the size they make them, it might be the biggest size one we ever. It might be the size of a small car by the time they get this thing here. But I really don't think they'll ever come out with it. Like I know they've talked about it, but I don't think we'll ever see it. Like really, I mean, but if they did ship it by then, it would be a dinosaur. Like nobody would be using him anymore. Like literally, I believe I think console gaming is almost done. Like really. Like, I know that we're all in the VR world and that's what we want to push, but literally going console after like whatever we see the PlayStation 6 would be like going backwards at that point. Technology wise, like why would you do that? Like move forward. Like for me, Quest right now is still standalone. It's still standalone mobile. So we're still okay. It's a mobile headset. It's a mobile chip. It's basically a phone running this whole system. What happens when it's not? And what happens when it's cloud gaming, Miles? And I don't. I'm not bound by this chip that's in the headset anymore. I can cloud stream a PC from across the world.
Yep.
And I can play whatever I want at whatever fidelity I want to play it at. I don't have to worry. I'm not bound by this little cell phone chip in the head. That's coming. That's they're already working on that now. They already have, possibly, applications in there that they're showing for cloud gaming. So it's right around the corner.
I know, it really is.
Within probably 3 years, 2 to 3 years, we're going to see it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Where technology is going to be in the next 10 years is unthinkable. I remember, this is a bit off topic, but I remember when I was a kid and my dad had his laptop and he had Doom 2 on it, and we went to the neighbor's house and they got a LAN cable. They connected the 2 laptops at the dining room table and they played Doom 2 co-op. And it was the most mind-blowing thing, seeing 2 people in a game. The cable was massive. And it's this is so unreal. Kids these days, they're playing Fortnite. 100 people land on a map. And they're just whatever out of one of thousands of costumes they can wear.
Oh my God. It's crazy.
And it's the starting point. Even music. When I was a kid, cassettes.
Yeah.
I actually owned one of the first MP3 players that could hold 20 tracks. Oh, 20 tracks that you could shuffle. I remember having a CD player. Oh my God, I can shuffle the album. I don't have to use a pencil when it's broken, on the cassette and stuff. These days, Spotify, you have the Infinity Machine. You have an AI that can work out what you've been listening to. Here's a band you've never heard in your life, and you're probably going to like it.
Yeah, but we know you're going to like it.
Yeah.
We know you better than you.
Dude, I'm scared of when I'm playing a computer game in VR and the NPCs are AI, and you're like, I've got to go to bed now. And it's no, don't leave. If you leave, if you turn this off, I die. No.
Wait till the first time they call you by your real name in VR, and the NPC is
dude, you're going to be playing games and you think this is an MMORPG and you were the only human and you had no idea. Proper Black Mirror shit, dude.
I'm telling you, it's coming. AI is insane as it is already. It's crazy. We're going down rabbit holes here, Miles. Rabbit holes we could talk about forever. This thing is pretty cool. I'm excited to give it a try. You have tried it. What about flat games? What are we talking flat games that's really kind of kicked your ass? You're like, oh my God, this is cool.
So the jokey answer, although true, is I've mainly been playing Stardew Valley lately, which is a pixelated.
I saw that in your Discord the other day,
dude.
I clicked on your picture on Discord and I'm like, is he really playing Stardew Valley?
It's brought me to a happy place lately. It is so good. I've sunk in the last month 100 hours into it. It's just been so good. Looking after a farm, so good. Love it. I played Spider-Man 2. I jumped back into it and I've started playing the game from the beginning. So just to be really simple about it, the PlayStation 5 Pro allows me to play Spider-Man 2 as if on the PS5 you're playing fidelity mode and performance mode at the same time. So you're playing with fidelity at 60 frames per second. Holy shit. It looks and feels incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But then you can play a performance pro mode where it looks even better with the ray tracing and stuff. It looks amazing, but it just looks like 30 frames per second. PC gamers know this. Once you go to 60 frames per second, you're never going back.
I know.
So yeah, I've done that. I've also downloaded Demon's Souls again. I've not jumped back into that because it's a gorgeous game, but I wanted to play the gorgeous performance mode at 60 FPS. I've downloaded a few. Fortnite has supposedly had a PS5 Pro patch. I have not noticed it whatsoever. So yeah, for me, the 2 games I can shout about is Spider-Man 2, PS5 Pro is incredible. So much so that I've just started playing the game again because it feels great. And then No Man's Sky. I want to get lost in that world. The way I can describe it actually for No Man's Sky, and I know it uses dynamic foveated rendering, which is the eye tracking, is I'm pretty sure the field of view in terms of the sweet spot is wider. What they've done is absolutely incredible. I mean, actually going to let me see if I can bring this up. Better Than Life is the devs for Kayak VR. They actually released this. So
Well, you looked that up. Let me just say thank you to Classy Grandma for being a channel member for 7 months. She says, you guys have totally convinced me that I made the right decision by and bought my Quest. Laugh aloud. Sorry. That's okay. We're not trying to convince anybody what you should go buy. Like I want all of you to make your own decisions. I'm just talking about PlayStation today because I believe the reason I wanted to talk about this and the reason that I wanted to bring this back up, because again, I've said that since the beginning, I've been a huge proponent. Then I was a big critic when they went bad. I believe that they're in a better position now, Miles, than they have been in a long time with this headset and with the PlayStation Pro.
The amount of amazing games you've got if you buy it, like even at launch, it was pretty good. But a lot of people are like, oh, these are PSVR ports to PSVR2. Like PSVR2 now, you've got such a great range of games. Look, for me, it's if you have a PS5, it's a no-brainer. Get a PSVR2. Wait for the Black Friday sale and get one.
If you get it for $335, that's insane.
Yeah, do it. If you don't have a PS5, have a look at the Black Friday sale. But for me, the Quest, I'm glad I've got the Quest for the social component. Like I really, really do. Awesome Tape in the chat says Final Fantasy VII Remake is probably the showcase game for PS5 Pro. It's a funny story there.
Wow.
Final Fantasy VII is one of my all-time favorite games, and I was so hyped for the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Part 2 of the story. Yeah. I paid full price, $70 for it, but it was just after I'd been let go from my last job. Be careful not to say this job. that'd be awkward. Yeah, at the start of the year, and I started playing it, and a game that I should enjoy. I was so depressed. I was like, I'm not feeling it right now. I'll come back to it. And I'm so glad now because I can now come back to it with the PS5 Pro where they fixed it.
And you're in a much better place.
Much better. Oh, dude. Impact Reality, working with Eric, working with the team. Absolutely amazing. I've just shared my screen, dude. This is what Better Than Life shared on there of when they were describing Kayak VR, like what does the PS5 Pro do? So like going through this, so dynamic resolution has gone from 60 to 90% to 90 to 100%. So I assume that is like the field within the headset. The textures is the thing I mentioned already. It's gone from epic 4K to cinematic 8K. I love that they've sort of described it. So they've now gone through post-processing, effects, detail quality, anti-aliasing. It's all gone from epic to cinematic, whatever that is. But the rest is the same. Kayak VR, I felt giddy playing this on PS5 Pro like I did when I first played the PS5 version. So look, it's nothing new. And it's not a game changer because the game always looks amazing. But let's see what happens in the coming months as the PS5 Pro patches come out. Because
I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it. Like they're going to do something with it. Like somebody's going to do something with it.
Also, like a lot of the people that were given like the PS5 Pro like dev kits early are going to be at all the AAA like first party studios, most of which don't have a VR game. A lot of the best PSVR2 games are from indie studios. So they're now going to, I assume, get dev kits and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. I hope Trombone Champ Unflattened has a PS5 Pro patch at launch.
I don't know. I'm not sure how that works.
I want ray tracing on that trombone. Let's see.
Oh my God. Can you imagine on the fish trombone that you get for pre-order?
Oh my God.
We have some of the freakiest trombones, man. It's so cool. Like you should have seen the whole like design and like the ideation and the design of the cat trombone from like start to finish was probably one of the coolest, weirdest things I've ever been a part of. Just like meetings. You're having meetings about, okay, how do you grab the cat to use it as a trombone? Like, how do you slide the cat? Do you grab the cat's leg? Like, you grab its tail? Like, how are you going to do this? And like we're gonna get calls from the SPCA because we're like abusing this like video cat. Like, people are gonna hate on us. So you got to be careful. But
yeah,
Miles, I'm excited. Like again for me, my go-to headset is definitely a Quest 3. It's the headset I grab the most. I do believe with PCVR when I'm going to start using it more for with the PlayStation VR2 headset because I like the fidelity. I do like OLED lenses. I know it's got a shitty sweet spot on the headset, but if you're somebody who knows that and you are savvy to the headset, you can figure it out pretty quickly to get it where it fits on you. And then what those OLED lenses afford you. while I wish they were Pancake, I wish that sometimes Pancake were OLED. Like I want both. Like I want.
Is that actually a technical thing? Can they not be both, or they could?
They can, but they're extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And there's not a headset company out there that has really mastered it. I got it down. And yeah, you we will see it. We'll see micro OLED. We will see different types of things that will eventually come and will bring us there. But like to me, like I want the best of both worlds. Now, what was very close was the Quest Pro. The Quest Pro had local dimming. It had a lot of the things that we really wanted, but it was a $1,500 headset. And it really wasn't meant or marketed for gaming. So it was, ultimately it was a failure. But the headset itself was great. I actually love the lenses in that headset. It was one of the best I've ever had. But I haven't touched it in months. I haven't even been sitting on my shelf collecting dust. But again, PlayStation VR2 for me, it's something I will go to more now. I'm excited to have the Pro. I'm excited to check it out. There are games that I do like to play flat now, especially because in what we do, I play a lot of flat games, a lot more flat games than I had played in my past. So yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'm excited to get into it. Myles, you know what I'm also excited to get into that I actually had a chance to play last week on a PlayStation VR2 headset, and that is this game right here, is Behemoth. And I want to close out tonight's show and talk about Behemoth a little bit. And I know that you haven't had a chance to try it yet, which I wish you did.
I've not played it at all. Massive fan of Skydance, and just feels like an abusive relationship. Like I love them load, they don't show me any love. And it's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. I'll just write a sad poem about it. I'll just keep writing my sad poems.
I was talking to Wes last night, and so this launch party, it was in New York City. It was right in Times Square, and so Skydance reached out to me, like 3 weeks ago, and they're like, "Hey, would you consider coming to New York for a launch party? If we brought you out there?" And I'm like, if I can get out there and just spend a day or two, I'm down. It sounds good. I'll do it. I just don't have a ton of time. But if you can get me in and out quick, I'm there. And I'm like, so who else is going to go? And they're like, well, we can't say. We can't give out anybody else's name. So I literally had no idea that anybody who else was going, except for one person. That was Jasmine, because she's like, oh, I have to go to New York next week. And I'm like, I have to go to New York. What are you going to New York for? So I knew that Jasmine was going, but that was literally the only person I knew was going. Well, Wes got the same email, but he didn't look at it very closely, so he didn't realize that it was a launch party. He just thought it was another demo, and they were inviting him to go to New York to do a demo. So he never looked at it closely. I didn't know who was going, so I never mentioned it or said anything. So he didn't go. Like, he had an opportunity to go, and he's like,
unbelievable.
He's like,
unbelievable.
If I just looked at the thing, I would have went. And like Gamer Tag ended up going. Kaz and Cherry went. Mateo went. Jay Bratt. Otterworldly. There was a really good group of creators there that went, and it was a lot of fun. And thank you to Skydance for bringing me out, for Q2C and allowing me to come and demo the game again. Got a chance to play. Myles, number one, you're gonna love this game.
I can't wait.
It's just such a, like, Skydance knows how to make VR. Like, they just know. Like, if they made a bad VR game, I would be shocked. Like, right? They don't make bad stuff. They just don't. They know how to make VR games.
Well, on PSVR without Parole last Friday, the question that was posed to us is, what game would you be most disheartened by that comes out between now and the end of the year if it flops? And for me, Behemoth was it, because Skydance are so top tier. It's like, if they can't do it, no one can. And I want them to succeed because they're going from a known IP, Walking Dead, to their own. I want that, like, they've proven themselves with a known IP. I want them to absolutely, like, just set up their own IP and just fly with it. And so, yeah.
I 100% agree. Like, that's like probably one of the best explanations of why you'd want to push, because they are doing something that's like a little bit out of their wheelhouse now. They're going with something different. And it is different. But the size and the scale, the mechanics, of the game, the fighting, the melee in it is spot on. There's archery in it that feels as good as any archery game that you've ever done. There's a grappling maneuver in it that's really good with a grappling hook that you get to use. Again, the intelligence of some of the enemies is really good.
The AI of the enemies
is great. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, you have some that are like, heavily armored, and you have to attack them different ways, different types of armor, different locations on their body. So you have to really be, cognizant of what's going on. You have archers everywhere, and they're going to, like, really rip you apart if you don't take them out first. The environments are amazing. It's this wintry snow environment. It's just a lot of outdoor environments that are cool. And then the behemoth. Miles, like if you've ever played Shadow of the Colossus or any of those types of games like Ico, the size of some of these bosses is utterly amazing. And in VR perspective, in VR,
Oh my God.
it's one
Yeah.
of the best things, right?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, the example I always give for scale, which always makes people laugh, was playing Minecraft VR.
Mhm.
And the reason I explain it is two things. One is the creepers, they're the same height as you, but when you're playing on flat screen, they kind of look a bit maybe smaller. They don't. But when you're in VR and they're the same height, it's like, whoa, okay, I feel intimidated. And then also when you're going in 1 block wide caves, it feels very claustrophobic. You don't feel that on a TV. You do in VR. And so from what I've seen on the trailers on Behemoth, I'm curious to know, like, I hear about how the scale looks amazing, but to actually be in it and look up at this thing that you're going to have to climb, I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like it literally throws me back vibes of Shadow of the Colossus. It's amazing. The set pieces of like the environments and then how big they are, and then having to use like you're gonna have to like scale some of these behemoths to kill them. Like so the behemoths themselves become part of the environment that you have to maneuver to like take them down, and you have to like figure out like some of the best games I've ever played, and like have that gameplay loop of figuring out a boss. Like remember when you were like, when you were young and you were playing, whatever video game it was, and you had boss battles and you had to figure out what
Yeah.
that way was to kill a boss battle. You get that feeling here, like, okay, okay, what's the pattern I have to figure out?
Right.
What is he doing? Because they're huge. I mean, literally one swipe and you're dead. So there's different things, and there's different ways you have to move around the environment. And this is a game that when it first came out, Miles, all they showed was a cinematic. Remember when they first came out and people freaked out like this?
Yeah.
What is this? This is bullshit. There's no video. There's no in-game.
Yeah. How's it going to look as a game?
Yeah. And I'm just super stoked just to say this is one of the games I've already played a lot of this game. The whole game actually was playable and available that night for launch, so you could actually sit there for like 3 hours and play the whole game if you wanted to on a PlayStation, which was great. But yeah, I just want to say thanks, Skydance. They had a little box with like some behemoth art.
Oh, that looks awesome.
I barely looked through it, but it's got like just like some cool like artwork and stuff inside.
That's super cool.
And yeah, just some like look at the like that Skydance type of artwork that you see with a lot of the stuff that Skydance does. Skydance Entertainment themselves, like just some cool stuff.
I love them.
Like almost like a cinematic novel, like almost like Walking Dead was.
Yeah.
Super cool. And then the shirt, which I'm wearing, and then they gave me this here. I haven't even opened this yet. I don't even know what's inside of it, but I assume it's a poster. Let's look together.
A battle axe.
Oh my god! Actually, they had a real broadsword there.
Oh my god! Was it heavy?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's unbelievable.
You should have seen Jasmine.
Have you got a photo of Jasmine with the broadsword?
I do.
I can't wait to see this.
I'll show you tomorrow. It's one of the funniest photos you've ever seen because this broadsword is huge and Jasmine is not super tall or big. And yeah, I mean but it was like real, and it was it had the exact weight to it. You could take it out of the scabbard, and it had like all this etching and engraving on the blade. It was really well done.
Wow.
Super cool. This is super cool too. This is really nice. It's like that heavy duty paper. But
nice.
It's a poster of
man. Honestly, Skydance know how to do it well, and
they do.
So there were 2 games I nominated of what I'd be most disheartened about if they didn't do well, and they were for opposite reasons. So I mentioned Skydance because they do so good, and I want them to succeed going from a known IP to their own.
Yep.
The other game I listed was Alien,
yes.
Rogue Incursion,
yeah.
Because funnily enough, Servius have always been great, and I think they've had a few bumpy games across, like not bad, but just like not exceptional. I really want them to succeed, especially because they're going from, I mean, they have done known IPs before, but they've usually done their own. But I want them to prove that VR is the place for known IPs to get attached to. Like if they nail it with this Alien game, others are going to be like, all right, what company can we work with to bring our awesome IP property and get people to live within those worlds? So I think Skydance and Servius have got 2 games coming out this year for the last 2 months that I just hope they both knock them out the park.
Me too. I'm super stoked for Aliens too. Like I was a little bummed out that they delayed the Quest version.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that we're still going to see the PC version and the PlayStation version this year. That's coming up soon, actually, too, isn't it?
Yeah, let me get the list because
is it December 19th or something like that? We're still going to see it?
Yeah. I've actually lost the PlayStation blog.
Myles, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of a lightweight now, and I'm 2 drinks in, and I'm getting kind of a little tipsy.
That's good. It's good, man. It's actually just the feeling of friendship.
Yeah,
that warm, fuzzy feeling. It's just friendship.
You know what's cool is we've been wanting to do this for quite a while. Is just get on, and hang out and have a couple of drinks together. Because the reason we're doing gin and tonics is we're both big fans of gin and tonic. Like that's my drink. That's your drink, and
Alien comes out December 19th.
December 19th. Nice.
Perfect Christmas gift. A little face hugger coming out. That's going to be the worst thing. Face hugger hitting you on the face and getting the headset rumble.
Oh my God, that's going to be scary. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Did you see Alien Romulus?
I did not. I heard it was amazing. Oh, and I'm a huge Aliens fan. Like,
dude,
I'm a huge Aliens fan until like 3 or 4. I
4 was Resurrection.
Yeah, I stopped. I watched it, but I was like,
I only saw Resurrection after Romulus. Actually, I'd never seen it before, so it was interesting to watch. And then I went to see
they're on the prison colony.
Correct. It was actually it was fun, but it was just yeah.
And then the one after that was even worse. That was the one where they were cloning Ripley, I think, right?
Oh no, that was Resurrection.
Or that was Resurrection. It got really bad.
It
got really bad. And then it got better again. Like, so I thought, I'm looking forward to trying seeing Romulus. I would like to.
Yeah, it's a good time, man. It's a good time.
Alien and Aliens are probably some of my favorite movies. Like
I love that they're so different in tone.
Oh yeah.
But they're both amazing. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to check it out, and I'm excited for this game, Myles. This could be probably one of the best 3 months of VR gaming ever.
Dude, it's unbelievable what we've got coming out. And even with stuff delayed till next year, like Hitman. So like the ones that were on the list, actually, just to go through these, we're like going full circle now. So we had Trombone Champ, which, do people need to worry about that? Or do we?
Game of the year next year, I think.
Oh yeah, Game of the year. I mean, to be honest, when I saw that we were seeing this game, I do think it could be potentially one of the best-selling PSVR2 games or VR games out there. Because, dude, I'm going to be playing it at Christmas, man. Just get my family in it. They're going to laugh. And actually, the thing I love most about Trombone Champ Unflattened, and I'm quite tipsy now, by the way, as well. That's why I'm slurring. I do want to get some more tonic water so I can pour myself another. But no, the thing I love about Trombone Champ Unflattened is, like, I love Guitar Hero and all those games, but when you're playing them with others, if you miss a note and it does the it's not nice to listen to. The thing about Trombone Champ Unflattened, or Trombone Champ generally, is if you don't hit the note perfectly, it just lets you play it. Like, there's no fail. It just sounds funny. It sounds funny if you get it wrong. It sounds funny if you get it right. And I just think that's amazing. And so I can't, there's so many family members I know are just going to absolutely love it. And I love that I'm going to be able to have it on PSVR2 just so I can have it on the social screen on the TV so everyone can hear them play along.
Yeah, no. We were just talking about, like, what are some of the best games to put people in, right? When they're new to VR, if you're going to bring them someplace, this is Trombone Champ Unflattened is a party game.
Yes,
like, it's a party game. You can just get in and try and, like,
it's intuitive.
Who's score? Like, literally, like, everybody putting headsets on. Like, let me go to Ode to Joy and, like, see what score
this is it.
Ode to Joy. Because I'm definitely better at Trombone Champ than you are, and, like, those are the things you get. Like, I get alerts all the time, Myles. Somebody just beat my score. Like, freaking Damian Ruffy. I got out of the way. I'm like, why aren't you working, bro? It's like the middle of the afternoon. I'm getting an alert that he beat my score. It pisses me off.
Unbelievable.
I hate when people beat my score.
So Trombone Champ's on there. There was also Mare.
Yeah,
Mare by
out for a while. That
Lone Kite Games. Yeah, I'd never known of this before, but looks cute.
Yeah.
Masters of Light.
Great game. Came out on Quest this spring. It's a it's tough to it's like a physical workout, hand track.
So it was all hand tracking on the Quest, right?
Right.
So what I like is that, obviously you're not going to have hand tracking on PSVR2, but you are going to have the haptic feedback. So I'm really curious to see how they've customized it for that. I think that's going to be great. Alien Rogue Incursion we've spoken about, and then Hitman World of Assassination. It's been announced for March 27, 2025. But I tell you what, people, if games get delayed, especially in the VR community, we're happy. We've seen so many games come out that were clearly too early. I can think of Hellsweeper VR.
Oh yeah, that was a shame for that game too,
dude. I've never seen something look so bad in the headset when it came out. Same with what's the one where you're stuck in the jungle?
Oh, Green Hell.
Green Hell, yeah. Again, like it just came out too early, and the reality is, like, a lot of us are like, yeah, we'll wait for the patches, but like the first impressions are so important. But we say that from a position of like, because they can just go for as long as they want. At the end of the day, money starts running out, and they need to get a game out there. Because also, depending on what publishers are saying, publishers might be going, tough. This is the date we've said.
Yep.
But for Hitman World of Assassination, especially with what we've seen with Hitman on Quest.
Oh my god.
Dude,
that came out way too early.
Like XR Games, man, is such an interesting case because when Zombieland came out on PSVR 2, was coming out, and I remember even Brian and that on Without Parole were going, yeah, it's a Quest port, we'll see. And they were going, no, this is like redeveloped for PSVR 2. And I played that game. Say again?
It was a different game almost.
Dude, it was like that game. Like we have our top 25, PSVR 2 live streams every like half a year. I still think that Zombieland is a contender. Like the guns feel great. The diversity of game modes on it is so good. XR games can do excellent stuff, which is why it's such a shame when stuff like the Hitman game didn't hit the mark. What was the other game they did recently that
oh yeah, it was something else that they did that was,
but they also the question around Starship Troopers, which actually is getting quite mixed reviews at the moment. Some people saying it's actually a good time, so I'm kind of looking forward to it was Zombie Army VR.
Oh, that was I heard that was terrible.
A lot of concerns about that at Gamescom, but that's been delayed as well, and they've had massive layoffs as well, which is dude, it's gutting, man, because the people there are great, and they can clearly do good stuff. And it's very easy straight away to just go, oh, people are inept or they're not good. It's like, no, there's a lot of competing factors of why stuff happens the way it does in development processes. And I have to say that working at Impact and with Flat to VR has allowed me to see a bit more behind the scenes. And like, I've always had empathy for developers. I'm not someone that likes to scold people. Like when I criticize things, even with Sony, it comes from a place of love. It's because I want things to do well. But it's definitely given me added compassion for what people go through. Like, it sounds obvious saying this out loud, but developers don't go in there because they want to make a bad game. Like, people literally pour their heart and soul into stuff. Actually, there's a few exceptions where there's been a few money grab situations. Dude, I played the other day Horror VR Adventure Zombie Edition. Honestly, one of the worst things I've ever played in my life. My live stream ended after 40 minutes. Oh, dude, unbelievable. I have actually got 2 games removed from the PSVR2 store.
Really? Which are the 2 games?
It was Chris Payne Hero. The full name, and this shows you it was a marketing snatch. The full name of this PSVR2 game was Chris Payne Hero Roguelite Dungeon Shooter Simulator Counter First Person Shooter World.
Oh my god, they put everything in the title so it would just show up on every search.
They did that, and like the sound wasn't working. You couldn't even get the platinum trophy and stuff. Reported it to Sony because they did a follow-up game, which was it was like a runner game. What was it called? It was called Run or Die VR, and it was like a parkour game.
Oh my
and
god.
You couldn't even start one of the levels because one of the things wouldn't work. So I reported to Sony, and both of them were from the same developer. And Sony basically said, thanks for letting us know. We will refund you. What I loved was they said, we'll refund you as a gesture of goodwill before removing it from the store. It's like, don't give me this shit. And again, love Sony, but don't give me this shit of as a gesture of goodwill. What you mean is it was terrible. It shouldn't have been sold. Shame on you. But out the gesture of goodwill, we're going to refund you. And it's been locked out. So even though I own it, I can't play it anymore.
You know what I want to know? I want to know like how that gets through QA. Like we're going through QA right now,
dude.
How hard it is to get through Sony QA? How does a
There
game
was-
even get out?
One of my friends' games, they got rejected from QA. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it was because they had a frame drop during the loading screen, which was a fixed thing anyway, so you wouldn't have even noticed it. Yeah, dude, it's really interesting, man. It's really interesting. Yeah.
It is, and you know,
Sony is very, very, very precious over their ecosystem. They don't allow mods, very strict on QA. And you know what? It's one of those things where, you know, we probably benefit overall for the fact that it does mean that there are some harsh decisions made and maybe some people slip through the cracks that shouldn't have done. But in the grand scheme of things, we probably benefit as a result. We don't get shovelware left, right, and center.
Yeah, it's not Steam, which is great.
Right.
You know, Steam is just loaded with shovelware of garbage that, you know, you have to be super careful of. And, you know, I'm glad that Sony's there doing it. It's just like, it's weird when you get one that does make it through. Myles, we gotta close this thing off, man. We're almost 2 hours in. That's crazy.
Okay.
We've done a great show. This has been a blast, man.
Dude, I love that we actually went through the runner show in a random order and it just flowed.
Oh yeah, we just talked. There's two guys hanging out, having a couple of gin and tonics, talking about virtual reality.
Couple or a few. I want one more.
I love that you have this big goblet of like.
I know.
Like this is amazing.
I just love it. Nice gin glass. Can I say a massive thank you to the chat? The live chat's been so lovely. It's good vibes, man. Got good vibes. Like disagreements happen in the chat, but respectfully. That's the main thing. Like we all love VR and we all have perspectives, and that's fine. And and Eric, seriously, man, thanks for having me on. And I'll definitely have you on my Wednesday show at some point.
I would absolutely love it. And then we definitely have to have you come back on like when Todd's here, and you know, maybe we get Wes to come in too, and we do like a big show of like
big G&Ts all round. Love it. Love it. Sounds good. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna run the outro. Say goodnight. Me and Myles have to go to work in a few hours. We will see you. We will see you Thursday night this week for the normal showtime. Me and Todd will be back on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. For me and Myles Dyer. Take it easy, everybody.
Later.